co-authored many articles in journals, books, and conferences. His research interests include process optimization, process mining, and quantum computing. Welcome, sir. The platform is to you.
Thank you, Dr. Alok. A very good afternoon. Let me set up my slides first. Please make me confirm. Is my slide is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me start this session.
Yes, sir. You can, sir.
Okay, thank you. So again, a very good afternoon to all the participants and all present in this session. I welcome you all in this fourth session. I think it is the fourth session of this fourth one-week national workshop on emerging tool and technologies in research. This organized by Department of Information Technology, Tripura University. So on the onset, I want to thank the organizing committee of this workshop and the whole fraternity of Tripura University for providing me an opportunity to deliver a lecture in this workshop. In this session, I shall present a lecture on IBM Quantum Experience, which is basically a simulator for quantum computing. I am Dipankar Deb, working as an assistant professor in Michael Madhusudhan Datta College. It's in government of Tripura, situated in Sabrum, Tripura. So let us start with some basics of quantum computing. Now, what is this? Now, if anyone think quantum mechanics sound challenging, then he or she is not alone. Though quantum objects can seem random and chaotic at first, they just follow a different set of rules. Once we know that what those rules are, we can use them to create new and powerful technology. Quantum computing will be the most revolutionary example of this. To get started the journey towards this quantum computing, let us see which of the following description is the correct description of the bit. Now, a blade used by a carpenter, the smallest unit of information either is 0 and 1 or something you can put in the horse mouth. Actually, they are all correct. Now, it's a very multi-purpose word, but if you choose the second one, it shows that you are already thinking along the right line. The idea that information can be stored and processed as a series of zeros and ones is quite a big conceptual hurdle. But it's something most people today know without even thinking about it. Taking this as a starting point, we can start to imagine bits that obey the rules of quantum mechanics. These quantum bits, or we call it qubits, will then allow us to process the information in a new and different way. Now, this quantum computing is a type of computation actually that harness the collective properties of quantum states, which is superposition, interference, and entanglement, to perform calculations. The devices that performs quantum computation are known as basically the quantum computers. Though the current quantum computers are very too small to outperform the usual, that is the usual, we call it the classical computers for practical applications. They are believed to be capable of solving certain computational problems, such as integer factorization, which underlies the RSA encryptions, substantially faster than classical computer. The most widely used model is the computer circuit. It means quantum circuit based on this quantum bit, or we call it qubit, which is something analogous to the bit in classical computation. A qubit can be in a 0 or 1 quantum state or in the superposition of 0 and 1 state. When it is measured, however, it is always 0 and 1. The probability of either the outcome depends on the quantum qubits quantum states immediately prior to the measurement. Now, this classical computer basically deals with this 0 and 1. Now, the quantum computing has some probabilistic state, and we call it here qubit. A binary digit characterized as 0 and 1 is used to represent the information in classical computers. Now, in classical computer technologies, a process bit is implemented by one or two levels of low DC voltage. And while switching from one of these two levels to the others, a so-called forbidden zone between these two logic levels must be passed as fast as possible, as electrical voltage cannot be changed from one level to another instantaneously. Now, there are two possible outcomes of this measurement of a qubit, usually taken to have the values 0 and 1, like a bit or binary digit. However, uh, the state of a bit can only be either 0 and 1. The general state of a qubit, according to the quantum mechanics, can be a coherent superposition, as said earlier, or both. Moreover, whereas a measurement of a classical bit would not disturb a state, a measurement of a qubit would destroy its coherence and disturb the superposition state. So a here you can see the notation. A single qubit can be denoted or written like this. So here in classical computing we deal with this Boolean algebra, but in quantum computing we deal with this linear algebra. Now, the classical computing we use the logic gates basically, and these logic gates are basically the irreversible. And in quantum, we use the quantum gates, which deals with this, which basically uses the matrix multiplication. And these gates are reversible, which is a very vital property of quantum gates. Now, this qubit can be represented in Bloch's pair like this. Now, in quantum mechanics, the general quantum states of a qubit can be represented by a linear superposition of two orthogonal basic states. Now, these factors are usually denoted by cat0 and cat1. They are written in the conventional Dirac or bracket notation, as as said in the previous slide. A pure qubit state is a coherent superposition of the basic states. So this means that a single qubit can be described as a linear combination of cat0 and cat1, where this alpha and beta are the probability amplitudes, and that are both complex numbers. Now, some prerequisites for dealing with this quantum computing or quantum circuits. We need some basic knowledge of linear algebra, matrix, vector, and obviously some programming knowledge of Python and Jupyter. We'll use Jupyter. We can use Jupyter Notebook for writing this Python code. Now, programming a quantum computer is now something that anyone can do in a comfort from their home also. but what to create. What is quantum program actually? In fact, what is quantum computer? Now, these questions arises in our mind, and these questions can be answered by making some comparison with digital standard digital computer. If you can compare these things with our standard digital computer. Now, here, those who deal with this digital logic and digital electronics, etc. So, the upper the circuit is the circuit of a adder circuit, and so and the below is the equivalent. Basically, you can say the equivalent adder circuit for in quantum. So this is the quantum circuit of this. Now, how to compare these two things? Now, this thing I will describe. So just I'm going to these slides. I will go to the demonstration part also. So directly we'll use the cloud-based this simulator, and we'll simulate our code. Means we'll run our code to see these circuits and their results. Now, for simulating the quantum circuit, now two way we can do. You can see we'll use the IBM Qiskit, we say. Now the URLs are given here. Now the first one is the actual site for the IBM Quantum Experience, where you will get the simulator, and we can run the programs there, and we can have the results and see view the circuits, etc. And the second URL is, you can see, that is a tutorial type thing. You can go through this tutorial and learn your own. Okay. So there are two way we can set up this simulator. One is in our local computer. Another directly you can use the cloud based simulator. Both the way will do. Now, if you want to install it in a local computer, that means in our laptop or desktop, in our home computer. So we need to do what? We need to download this Python and Jupyter notebook and install it in our computer. And after installing, we need to configure this. We need to download the Qiskit and install it in our local machine and configure it. And after that, we can write the Python code in Jupyter notebook and write our codes and see the results. This is one way. Another way, we can directly log in into this cloud-based IBM experience. And so that is the cloud-based platform. So we can log in there and directly write the code, and these codes will be saved there, and we can use it in future also. So let us first, before proceeding further in our slide and make the thing boring, so let me go to this demonstration part parallelly. So sometimes I will come to this PowerPoint slides, and again we'll go to this browser for simulating the results, okay, and running the codes. So in this way, I will present this. Okay. So let me minimize this one and go to your browser to for login into the IBM. You can see the URL quantum-computing.ibm.com. So this is this is where we can run the quantum programs, okay, and see the results. Now, you see, they sign in into the IBM Quantum. Now, we can have an user ID and password, or if you have a Gmail ID, you can use this Gmail ID, your Gmail ID for logging into this. I'm using my Gmail ID for logging into this. So I will click on the G. So I'm actually using my Gmail for logging into this. Yes, this has been logged in. Now here you can see. So this has been I already configured it. So my name is also coming here. So first one you see the IBM Quantum Composer, and another is IBM Quantum Lab. So first you see the IBM Quantum Composer. Click it. Let us wait for yes, it's come. So we can draw the circuit, or we can build the circuit, quantum circuits, using these gates, just like digital circuit, and we can just drag and drop and draw our or build our circuit, and the code will be generated here automatically, and we can run and see the results. Okay, so the measure will show the outputs actually, so we can see this. So this is one way. This is another is IBM Quantum Lab. So where we can write the Python code for simulating our circuits. So it is taking some time. So it will come. Just hold on. Yes. Yes. So go to this file, new, then Qiskit notebook. Yes. This is the Qiskit notebook. So we'll write our code for the circuit, and we'll simulate it to see the results. Sorry. Yes. Let me go to these slides. Please wait for a moment. I think it is this one is visible. The browser is visible. Yes, Alok sir, Jayanta sir, is this browser is visible, sir? Is this browser is visible, sir? Alok sir? Okay. So, is it visible,
Sir,
sir?
sir, is it yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, this is the first our first the code for this first quantum circuit. So, this part I have shown how to use this IBM quantum experience for writing. That means this one where to write these codes and how to run this code. So let me first build this circuit, build a circuit. Now I don't want to give the details of the circuit right now. Just you first see what it gives or what results it shows. After that, I will explain. Let me paste it. Just HTTP code circuit equal to quantum circuit 2 comma 2, then the circuit it is for the Hadamard gate, and circuit CX, and then circuits it will give the some measures. So for running this code, it is building the circuit, so we'll use this icon for running the code. So let me run the code. Yes, then we'll execute it. First we build the circuit, then then we have to execute this. Code, then we'll run it. You have to export some library function actually. Then QC measure all. Yes. Now just see from here. Now from Qiskit, import this quantum circuit. We have imported some functions. Now the after importing the functions, QC output equal to quantum circuit 8. That means we have used 8 inputs and outputs, you see, Q1 to Q7. Okay, so QC output equal to quantum circuit 8. Now QC output measure all this black color symbol with a metal like symbol. Okay, this black color metal like symbol in the black box, this stands for the measure. So we have the we have inserted the measure for all the inputs from Q0 to Q7, and these measures have been recorded here. You see in the measure line 0, measure 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so and this QC output draw, using this command, this circuit has been shown here. Otherwise, using these first two commands, the circuit has been built up, but this is not visualized. Okay, so in this, using this last command, this QC output dot draw initial state equal to true, so this circuit has been shown here. So this is for the visualization part. So this is a very simple, you can say, the very basic, or a ABCD of part of this quantum circuit. So this is, you can say, this is our first quantum circuit actually. So we'll gradually go to this um, adder circuit. Let me show you another thing. So next command is, you see, I have shown the result or the output. You can say here the output are the measures basically. So it done histogram. So this histogram is also shown here. So the various results or the measures we'll get in future as an output of an quantum circuit. This can be shown in as histogram or some other thing. So we can use this code to show this. So this is what I have shown in the cloud-based simulator Qiskit. So this is the code I have actually simulated there or run there, and these URLs are for your use. So you can use this URL for your future purpose also. So this is the result of that circuit that I have shown this as an histogram. Now, how to create an adder circuit? Okay, so let us go to this slide. So in the digital, that is XOR and AND gate for the carry and XOR for the sum, and A or B are the inputs. Now, how to create it using this quantum concept? Okay, so first we have to encode the inputs. So first we have to encode the inputs. Whether we are using the qubits or bits, we need to manipulate them in order to turn the inputs we have into the outputs we need. For the simplest program with very few bits, this is usually to represent this process in a diagram known as circuit diagram. So these have inputs on the left, outputs on the right, and operation represented by icon symbols in between. These operations are called gates, mostly uh, some historical reason actually. So here an example that what a circuit looks like for standard bit-based computers. So for quantum computer, you use the same basic idea, but we have different conventions and how to represent the inputs, outputs, and symbols used in these operations. So here is the quantum circuit that represent the same process as the above. So in the rest of this presentation, we will be explain how to build these circuits, and at the end, we'll know how to create the circuits and what it does and why it is useful. So in the just what I have shown in the cloud-based simulator, in that circuit we typically need to do three jobs. First, to encode the inputs. So what I have shown the using my first command. So first you have to encode the inputs, then do some actual computations, and finally extract an output. For the first quantum circuit, we'll focus on the basically the last job. So we'll start creating the circuit using the 8 qubit and 8 output. What I have shown here, this is QC underscore output equal to quantum circuit 8. So this is this will create this circuit using 8 qubit and 8 outputs. The circuit which we have the QC output is created by Qiskit using quantum circuit. The quantum circuit takes the number of qubits in the quantum circuit as an argument. So this the second command, you can see QC underscore output dot measure all The extraction of this output in the quantum circuit is done using an operations called measure all actually. So each measure tells a specific qubit to give an output to the specific input bit. So this command QC underscore output dot measure all adds a measurement to each qubit in the circuit QC underscore output, and also add some classical bits to write the output to. Now that our circuit has something in it, let us this QC underscore output dot draw. Okay, so using this we have shown the or visualized the circuit. Now qubits are actually initialized to give the output 0. Now since we do not do anything to our qubits in the circuit, this is exactly the result we will get if you measure them. Now we can see this by running the circuit many times and plotting the results as an histogram as shown as I shown already. Okay. Now this is the code for this showing this histogram. So I think this code I have explained and shown you in the cloud-based simulator. So what is the use of this course and how to run it and what the output it will show. Now, the reason for running it many times and showing the results as an histogram is because the quantum computers may have some randomness in their result. In this case, we have already doing something quantum, doing anything computing and quantum, and we get just 0, 0, 0, 0, it's 8 zeros result with certainty. Now this results comes from a quantum simulator actually, which is a standard computer calculating what an ideal quantum computer would do. Now simulation is actually only possible for small numbers of qubit, but when they are nevertheless a very useful tool uh, when we design the first quantum circuit. Okay. So to run on the real device, you simply need to replace this SR, this one, first one, this SR.get underscore backend simulator with the backend objects of the device you want to use. So I think this is clear. Now next, we want to create an adder circuit. Now we want to adder circuit. We want to create an adder circuit. Now first thing is to encode an input. Now let us look at how to encode a different binary string as an input. For this, we need what is known as a NOT gate. Now this is the most basic operation that we can do in a computer. It simply flips the bit value, 0 becomes 1 and 1 becomes 0. Now for qubits, it's an operation called that does the job of NOT. Now you can see now this code, this first three codes encode in input, and after that you can see the three codes. This course we create a new circuit dedicated to do the jobs of encoding and called it QC underscore encode. Now for now we only specify the number of qubits. Okay. So obviously we'll run this code and show you on the simulator. Now the last extracting the result, you can see the two commands. The extracting result can be done using the circuits we have from before. This is QC underscore encode dot measure underscore all and QC underscore encode dot draw. Now we can run the combined circuits and look at the result using this. Okay, so we'll run both these three pieces of code and see the result. Now, let me see the result. Let us again go to this browser and the cloud-based simulator. This is the code. Let me copy it. Go to our simulator. Let me paste it here. This already been ready. So this is the what I've said. This is the for the encoding. This is for the encoding part. Now let us go to the second one for extracting the result. Now for extracting the result, we let me copy this code and paste it in this simulator. Run it. Okay. So this is for extracting. You can say the extracting the result. This first code is for the encoding the input, and for second one you can say for extracting the output actually. Now, this meter-like symbols, obviously, as I discussed, it is a measure. So for extracting the output. Now, let me go to this the combined circuit and see the result. Let me copy this code to show the result in an histogram form. This is the result. Now our computer outputs the string 1000, then again 4 zeros instead. Now the bit we flipped, which comes from the qubit 7, lives on the far left of the string. This is because the Qiskit number the bits in a string from right to left. Some prefers to number their bits the other way around, but Qiskit system certainly has its advantage. When you are using the bits to replace the numbers, especially it means the qubit 7 is telling us about how many 2727s we have in our number. So flipping these bits, we have now written the number 128 in a simple 8-bit computer. Now we can try for writing another number. We can, for example, you can do it for a range. For example, just use a search engine to find out what a number looks like in binary. If it includes a 0 bits, just ignore it and then add some zeros to the left side if you are younger than 1 to 8. Now let's again next go to our next slide. So I need to do this. Another encoding. Okay. Another encoding and another. You can see another. This is a bit different from the previous one. Auto encode. We will copy this code and see it in our stick. Let me copy this code. Yes, this is another encoding. As well as you can extract the outputs and show the results in histogram. This is a different form of encoding. Just as you see the previous one, this is one form of encoding. And this is the another example, and we can obviously extract the output and show the results in as in histogram form. So let us move forward. So adding with Qiskit. So let's make our own half adder using Qiskit. This will include a part of the circuit that includes that I mean encodes the input, a part that executes the algorithm, and a part that extracts the result. The first part will need to be changed whenever we want to use a new input, but the rest will always remain same. The first bit, the two bits we want to add are encoded as qubit 0 and 1, and the above examples encodes a 1 in both these qubits. And so it seeks to find the solution of 1 plus 1. The result will be the string of 2 bits, which we will read out from the qubit 2 and 3. All that remains is to fill the actual program, which lives in the blank space of in the middle. We'll go to the details of this. Just the basic operation of computing is known as basically the logic gates. We have already used the NOT gate, but it is not enough to make our half adder. We could only use it to manually to write write out the answers. Now, since we want the computer to do the actual computing for us, we'll need some more powerful gates. To see this, we need this. You can see the see here the inputs and outputs and XOR outputs. Now, the rightmost bit in the in all the four of these answers is completely determined whether the two bits we are adding are of the same or different. So for 0 plus 0 and 1 plus 1, where the two bits are equal, the rightmost bit is the answer come out 0. For 0 plus 1 and 1 plus 0, where we are adding different bit values, the rightmost bit is 1. So to get this part of our solution correct, we need something that can figure out whether two bits are different or not. So traditionally, what we do in the study of digital computation, this is called the XOR gate. But in quantum computer, this job of this XOR gate is done by controlled NOT gate, which is since that is quite a long name, we usually just call it CNOT. That is, CNOT means controlled NOT gate. In Qiskit, its name is more simpler, that is CX. So, which is even shorter actually. In circuit diagram, it is drawn you can see in circuit diagram, we'll show it. Okay, when you simulate the code, that is QC underscore C naught dot CX. So you can visualize the gate also, how it look like. So this code, you see QC underscore C naught quantum circuit 2, then QC C naught CX 01 and QC C naught dot draw. So this code, this can be applied to a pair of qubits. One acts as a control bit, the other acts as a target qubit. So let me copy this code and you can visualize the CNOT gate. That is, we can say that is the control NOT gate. So let me copy this code and run it. Now you can see this is the CNOT gate actually. This is the CNOT, Q1, Q0 and Q1, then a round like structure, and in the middle is plus. This is CNOT or control NOT gate or CX in Qiskit. So there are multiple ways to explain the effect of CNOT. One is to say that it looks at its two input bits to see whether they are same or different. Next, it overrides the target qubit with the answers. The target qubit 0 if they are the same and 1 if they are different. Now, another way of explaining this C naught is to say, now another way of explaining this C naught is to say that it does a not on the target if the control is 1 and does nothing otherwise. This explanation is just as valid as the previous one. Now let us try the C naught out of ourselves by trying each of these possible inputs. For example, let use this circuit to test the C naught is an with the input 0 1. Okay, the input 0 1. So let us try this one. Another way of using this C naught. I have copied this code. Let me test it. Yes. So this is the circuit or this code using this C naught or CX, you can say. Let us move forward. Now, if we execute this circuit and we'll find the output as 1 1, we'll think that this is happening because of either of the following reason. The C naught calculates whether the input values are different and finds that they are which means that it wants to output 1. It does this by writing over the state of qubit 1 and turning 0 1 into 1 1. Another reason may be the C naught sees the qubit 0 is in state 1 and so applies a not to qubit 1. This flips the 0 to qubit 1 into a 1 and so turns 0 1 into 1 1. So here is the table showing all the possible inputs and corresponding output of the C naught gate. Now for our half adder, we do not want to overwrite one of our inputs. Instead, we want to write the result on a different pair of qubits. For this, we'll use two C naughts. Now, using these two C naughts, this is the code. We can run this code in our simulator. In our simulator, and see what it shows. Let us copy this instead of writing this whole code. So just I'm copying this. Okay. So this circuit is actually created for that is we don't want to overwrite one of our input. Instead, we want to write the result on a different pair of qubits. So for this reason, we use this we use two C naughts. So not to overwrite the output. Now we are on the halfway to the fully working of an half adder. We just have the other bits of the output left to do, and one of these will live on qubit 3. So if we look again at the four possible sums, we'll notice that there are only two cases for which this is 1 instead of 0 and 1 plus 1 for equal to 1 0. So it happens only when both the bits we are adding are 1. So to calculate this part of the output, we could just get our computer to look at whether both the inputs are 1. If they are, then only, or if only there, we need to do a NOT gate on qubit 3. So this will flip it to the required value of 1 for this case only, giving the output as we need. So for this, we need a new gate like C naught, but controlled on 2 qubits instead of just 1. This will perform a NOT on the target qubit. only when both the controls are in state 1. So the new gate is called the Toffoli. This is Toffoli regarding where this new gate is call it Toffoli. So for this, we use this is basically those who are familiar with these Boolean logic gates. These are basically an AND gate. So So this is the Qiskit code for using this Toffoli as well as this. This is simply just like an AND gate of which is similar to this digital logic or Boolean logic. So the code for the half adder, the I can see modified code. We can say the modified code for this half adder using this Toffoli gates is like this. So we can copy this code and put it into the simulator to show our show the result. Let us copy this code and put it into the simulator and see what it gives. Yes. So in this, we are calculating basically 1 plus 1. And because the two input bits are both 1, let us see what we get. So we'll get the result in an histogram form. So let me copy this code and see the result for this half header. Yes, that's the result. So this half header contains everything we need for addition. With the NOT, C0, and Toffoli gates, we can create programs that adds any set of numbers of any size. So these three gates are enough to do everything else in computing too. In fact, we can even do without C0. Additionally, this C0 gate is only really needed to create a bit of value 1. Now, the Toffoli gate is essentially the atoms of mathematics, you can say. So it is the simplest element and from which every other problem solving techniques can be compiled. So this is all about this half adder circuit. Now, there are some more gates are there in this quantum computing or quantum circuit. Now, one of these, so we'll try to, I'll try to cover some of the basic gates. Some we come across some gates and use them to perform the classical computation. An important feature of quantum circuit is between initializing the qubits and measuring them, the operations are always reversible. These reversible gates can be represented as matrices and as rotation around the block sphere. Now, one of the basic gates is Polish gate, Polish X gate, Z gate, and Y gate. Now, this we are familiar with this Polish matrices from the linear algebra. So, if any of the so if something is we cannot remember, so we can refresh our linear algebra part and go into this. So we'll see here that the Polish matrices can represent some very commonly used quantum gates. The X gate, the Polish X gate is represented by Polish X matrix. To see the effects of the gate as on the qubit, we simply multiply the qubits state vector by the gates. We'll see this X gate switches the amplitude, the state 0 and 1. So let me show you the police X gate on the simulator. This is the, let me copy this police X gate code. You can visualize the police X gate. Yes, this is the police X gate. Yes. Let's regarding this police X gate. Now, below is the we display the qubits states on the block sphere, and pressing one of the button we can perform the gates on the qubits actually. So in Qiskit we can apply this y police y and z gates in our circuits using these codes qc dot y 0 and qc dot z 0 and then qc draw. So let me copy this into our simulator, run it. This is police X, Y, and Z gate. Now another gate is the Hadamard gate. We can play around with these gates using these. Okay. Now this Hadamard gate is the fundamental quantum gate. This allows us to move away from one poles of the block sphere and create a superposition of direct 0 and direct 1. So it has a matrix like this. So this can be thought as a rotation around the block sphere, or as a transformation of the states of the qubits between x and z bases. So we can, in the Qiskit, we can show you the police, the Hadamard gate. Let me copy this and put it into a simulator. Example. Sorry. Yes. So there was an error in my code. So this is the Hadamard gate. Okay. So this is showing in the block sphere. So we can play around with it. Now another gate is P gate, which is called the phase gate, is parameterized. That is, it needs a number of try to tell it exactly what it do. The P gate performs a rotation around the z-axis direction. So it has the matrix form like this. Okay, so this can also be shown in the simulator. So pgate, if you can see the code here, Qiskit underscore textbook, there is then import the gate demo. Then in Qiskit you specify the pgate using this p qc quantum circuit 1 and qcp, that is by 40 and qc draw. So this will show the p-gate in the simulator. Now, similar to this, another gate is there, which is called the identity gate. This called the I gate. This is simply a gate that does basically nothing. It is a matrix of identity. It is a matrix. Its matrix is an identity matrix basically. So this gate is very useful also. So apply this identity gate where whenever anywhere in our circuit should have no effect on the qubit states. So it's interesting that that this is even considered a gate. There are two main reasons behind this. One is that it is often used in calculations. For example, proving the X gate in its own inverse. The second is that it's often useful when considering the real hardware to specify to do nothing or none operation. Another is S gate. This gate is to mention this S gate. This is the S gate. This is similar to this P gate with pi equal to pi by 2. It does the quarter turn around the block sphere. It is important to note that unlike the every gate introduced so far, the S gate is not not its own inverse basically. So these are the basic, and this is the code for this S gate. You can copy this code and put it in the simulator and see the gate. Another gate is T gate. The metrics are there, and in the Qiskit code I have written in the below. So using this code, you can see the or visualize the T gate. So let me copy this. Let's try. You can see. So another, so this is about these basic gates. So the main goal of my presentation was to make a make all the participants familiar with this Qiskit simulator so that they can program their quantum circuits, or do the quantum programming and run this here, because whenever we can design a quantum circuit. Now, to see the results, actually, we don't have the hardware and etc. things, and all the necessary infrastructures with us. So, it is very important to know the simulation so that we can check the results of our design circuit. So, this is a very emerging and important, I can say, the tool for who are doing some research work in quantum computing. So another, I can give you the link of that is the IDM quantum circuit. This is lab. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, this URL I have given in my PowerPoint presentation. In future, if you need it, so you can collect it in from the from PowerPoint also. So this how can one can write the, you see the create this goal of this program is to create a quantum circuit function that compute the XOR and NAND OR gates using NOT gates expressed as X in Qiskit, and NOT gate expressed as CX in Qiskit, and the Toffoli gate is expressed as CCX in Qiskit. So we can write the function for NOT. You can see this is the we can copy this code and run it into our simulator, and you see the result. So this function is for not gate. Another this function is for XOR gate. This is the code for this function for XOR gate. Now this code is for the AND gate, for making the AND gate. You can run all these codes. This function is for the NAND gate. This code is for OR gates. You see, all the functions, code for the functions of basic gates like OR, AND, NAND, XOR, okay, NOT, XOR, yes, that I said, then OR. So all these functions we can define it, or I can use it for making different types of quantum circuits. So this is all about this basic. So, and that's all for this session. So thank you very much for your patience hearing. Thank you all.
Dear participants, if you have any queries, you may ask the expert. Any questions from the participants? Anyway, I hope, sir, there is no question from the participation side. Sir, thank you very much for being with us and delivering the expert session, as you have already also consented to be the expert in the previous events also. So thank you once again for sharing your valuable thoughts and research experience in the field of emerging technology like quantum computing. I hope the most of the researcher who have joined this session is very much felicitated with the concept in this emerging technology. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so all the participants, the feedback link will be shared in the chat box. So kindly be with us and fill up the feedback form. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dipankar sir.
Thank you, sir.